Welcome back to the Dinar Daily, your trusted source for the latest updates, insights, breaking news on global currencies and revaluation developments. Today, we have a truly groundbreaking update to share. One that could change the way investors and analysts view the future of both the Vietnamese Dong and the Iraqi Dinar. The headline says it all: game changer. Vietnam passes law for currency, RV. Here's what's next. And believe me, this is not another rumor or recycled speculation. This is a confirmed legal step taken in Vietnam. And it's creating serious waves in the financial world. What if I told you that a single law passed in Vietnam could reshape the global currency landscape? Imagine waking up and realizing that a quiet move in Southeast Asia could directly impact your financial future. That's exactly the situation unfolding right now. Vietnam's new currency revaluation law has set the stage for something historic, and the ripple effects are reaching investors worldwide, including those closely following Iraq's Dinar story. For years, the Vietnamese Dong has been viewed as undervalued compared to the nation's actual economic strength. Vietnam's manufacturing sector has exploded, with tech giants like Apple, Nike, and Samsung pouring billions into the economy. Yet, the Dong has not reflected this growth. This new law creates a legal framework for a structured currency revaluation, something experts have been waiting to see for decades. No more whispers or rumors. It's now written into law. So what exactly is a revaluation? In simple terms, it means your money suddenly becomes worth more compared to other currencies like the US dollar or the euro. When a government revalues, it strengthens its official exchange rate. For Vietnam, this could mean the Dong finally catching up to reflect its powerful growth story. That's why analysts are calling this move not just bold, but potentially historic globally. The significance is huge. Vietnam isn't just another economy. It's a key player in Southeast Asia. It's positioned as a counterweight to China and supported by global powers like the United States. By introducing this law, Vietnam is telling the world it's ready to align its financial system with international standards in a clear and transparent way. This is exactly what global investors want: to see clarity and predictability, instead of uncertainty and chaos. History shows us that when legal frameworks for revaluation are put in place, major currency shifts often follow. Think back to the Plaza Accord in the 1980s, when the Japanese yen was revalued, or Germany after reunification in the 1990s. Each of those moments reshaped financial markets. Vietnam may now be setting the stage for the next big chapter in that story. And here's where Iraq comes into the picture. For years, Dinar investors have been waiting, watching, and hoping for signs of a roadmap toward revaluation. Iraq's currency has been weighed down by war, instability, and decades of challenges, despite holding one of the largest oil reserves in the world. The hope has always been that one day, Iraq would stabilize and modernize enough to see its dinar reflect its true economic potential. Vietnam's move gives us a real-world example of how this could actually happen. The process is clear. First, pass the legislation. Then, work with international institutions like the IMF and World Bank. Finally, roll out the revaluation in a structured, carefully managed way. Vietnam is proving that this roadmap isn't just theoretical, it's possible. For Iraq, the path could look very similar, even if the timeline is more complex due to its unique challenges. Now, many viewers might be asking the big question: how soon could this actually take place? And the answer is patience is key. Reevaluations almost never happen overnight. They're often implemented gradually in phases, allowing central banks and governments to manage the process without triggering chaos. For Vietnam, this law is the first step, a signal of intention and readiness. The actual adjustment could unfold over months or even years. Iraq would likely follow a similar step-by-step process. This is why it's important for investors to stay grounded. While this development is incredibly exciting, the goal is not to expect overnight riches. The wise approach is to think long-term, to understand the logic behind why currencies revalue, and to position oneself with patience and knowledge rather than hype. Let's break down that logic. A currency's true value should reflect its economic health, things like exports, resources, and productivity. If it stays artificially low, it can distort trade, create inflation risks, and destabilize financial systems. Vietnam's dong has been kept low for years to boost exports. But with rising wages, foreign investment, and growing global influence, the pressure to adjust upward has become unavoidable. This law now gives Vietnam the tools to do so in an orderly and transparent way. It reassures both citizens and foreign investors that the government is in control of the process and will coordinate with global partners to make sure it strengthens the economy instead of destabilizing it. That's why analysts are calling it historic, because Vietnam is proving it's not only growing but planning responsibly for the future. For Iraq, this should be encouraging. The country has been steadily modernizing its financial systems with help from the IMF and World Bank. It faces bigger challenges than Vietnam, including political instability and corruption. But the fundamentals, especially oil, are extremely strong. If Iraq follows Vietnam's example and establishes a similar legal framework, it could mark the beginning of its own path toward revaluation. It's also important to highlight that reevaluations are not just domestic moves. They often involve international cooperation. The U.S. supported Japan's yen revaluation in the 1980s, and Europe supported Germany's post-reunification changes. Vietnam's role as a strategic partner in Asia makes it likely to receive similar backing. Iraq could also benefit from international cooperation once its political and security issues stabilize. For investors, the lesson here is to balance excitement with caution. Currency speculation is one of the riskiest investment areas in the world. Many have lost fortunes by betting too heavily on overnight changes that never materialized. The smart approach is to stay informed, diversify, and never risk money you can't afford to lose. That said, the potential rewards are undeniable. If Vietnam successfully carries out its revaluation in the coming years, it could create a domino effect. Other undervalued currencies, including Iraq's dinar, might feel pressure or inspiration to follow suit. That's why this law isn't just about Vietnam. It's about the precedent it sets for the world. Another crucial piece of the puzzle is the role of international institutions. Vietnam has already been engaging with the IMF and World Bank, which adds legitimacy to its move. Iraq, too, has ongoing cooperation with these institutions, though progress is slower. Their involvement signals credibility, because they rarely support such moves unless they believe in the country's long-term stability. And let's not forget, reevaluations don't always come as one big leap. They can happen in stages. A gradual approach allows economies to adjust smoothly without shocking the system. Vietnam's law seems to suggest exactly that kind of careful path, and if Iraq follows, we should expect a similar structure. This means investors should think in terms of years, not weeks. Of course, global conditions will also play a role. Oil prices, trade relationships, inflation, and geopolitics all affect currencies. For Iraq, oil and stability are critical. For Vietnam, relationships with the US, China, and Europe will be decisive. That's why staying informed is so important. Currency values don't move in isolation, and investors must pay attention to the bigger picture. So where does this leave us in 2025? With Vietnam's bold new law, we're seeing the first domino fall. This doesn't guarantee a massive overnight shift, but it marks a turning point. It proves that undervalued currencies can be revalued when the right groundwork is laid. For the Iraqi Dinar community, this is hopeful news. It shows that real steps can happen, not just speculation, but official legal action. The key takeaways: stay patient, stay informed, and avoid the hype. Focus on real developments like Vietnam's law. Monitor official announcements, watch global economic indicators, and think long-term. For those who prepare wisely, the rewards of a successful revaluation can be life-changing. As we wrap up today's report, remember this: history is full of small steps that led to massive transformations. Vietnam's new revaluation law could be one of those moments. It may take time, but it has set the stage for one of the most significant financial shifts of our era. For Iraq and the dinar, It provides a roadmap hand, perhaps. A glimpse of what's possible in the near future. Stay tuned here on the Dinar Daily because this story is only just beginning. If you found today's breakdown valuable, make sure to like this video, drop your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe so you don't miss the latest updates on the Vietnamese Dong, the Iraqi Dinar, and every major move in the world of currency investing. The future is unfolding before our eyes. Staying ahead of the curve could make all the difference in your financial journey.